and welcome to another Retalk TV show. This morning, we're early in the morning, and we have Ivette K. Osorio. She's an attorney in West Babylon, and let's bring her on. We're going to talk about a little bit about her, and then we're going to talk about what's going on in today's market due to COVID. I know it's crazy for me, and it's got to be insane for her. So let's bring her on and find out what's going on. Hi, Ivette. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Early in the morning. You're an early bird.
I am.
She said,
early.
I was trying to get her for an interview at 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And she's like, no, 8 o'clock. I'm like, oh my God. I miss the gym, but it's so worth it, man. It's so worth it.
No, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being on the show. Now, we've done a few deals together. I like the way you work. I like that first of all, you speak English and Spanish, so I get a lot of Spanish clients, and you're able to explain everything to the T. I like that you're on point. You look out for your client, and you're a good attorney. I like that. It's very inspiring to see that an attorney that's looking out for the clients.
That's very nice. I appreciate that. That's what I strive to do. Like, I just want to look out for my clients. I want them to turn around and be like, wow, she really did her best for me. Like, she didn't sell me down a river. She never told me. Like, the one thing I never want to hear is, you never told me this.
That's true.
You need to know. You need to know. You need to be informed. Mainly, we are aware of the fact that this is your first time. If it's your first time, you have no idea what questions to ask. That's what I'm here for. I know what's coming down the road. I know what you want to look out for. So I want to actually make sure that you're ready. You don't know this is coming, but watch out. This is coming. This might happen. These are the pros. These are the cons. And just keep them well informed. That's all they need. Just a little bit of your time and attention.
Yeah. And tell me how did you know? You always knew you wanted to be an attorney, or this is something that you just one day while you were a teenager?
At first, actually, when I was a teenager, I thought I wanted to be a computer programmer, because being on the computer, the time passed by so fast. I was like, what better way to find a job than something that you don't feel? Like, I won't feel the time and I'll get paid for being on the computer. How great is that? So I wanted to be a computer programmer. My dad said, Iha, you crazy. Like, you're not going to be a computer programmer. Like, you have to be a doctor or a teacher or a lawyer. And I was like, I don't want to do any of that. And then I went to college. It was in my first semester, my first semester in college. And I did computer programming major, but I promised my dad I would take one legal course. It was called Introduction to Law. I remember it. And I fell in love with it. I was like, okay, like, you never want to tell your parents that they're right.
Yeah.
Well, he was right. He was right.
We always end up listening to them no matter what down the road.
I did my computer programming classes, and I switched majors that next semester and became legal. So.
Oh, nice. And you love it. You love it.
I love it. I love it. I love the learning aspect. I love the knowing aspect. It's
nobody can get over on you.
Right. Well, I try my best for them not to.
That's good. And now, how long have you been doing it? What got you to start your own practice? Because as an attorney, I know you graduate and you could take a job for $40 an hour or something like that.
Right.
Starting off working for somebody else.
So I've been working in the legal field since about 2007. And, you're working under an attorney, obviously, this whole time. So you see the way they operate. Maybe you're not always your viewpoint isn't always the same. And it was always important to me to one day have my own firm where I can cater to the clients the way I felt they needed to be catered to without worrying about what everybody else in the office wanted. So that was important to me, to be able to take the clients in, speak the way I wanted to speak to them, as honestly and as frankly as I could, even if that meant the client is going to end up walking out the door and not hiring me as an attorney. I am perfectly fine with that. I'm not going to be that attorney that's just trying to get you in, trying to make you give me a deposit so that now you're stuck with me. No, you go home and you think about it. If this is what you want, if this is the road you want to go down, because I know how hard it is for you to make that money, then come back and see me. I'm not going anywhere.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that you're straightforward. You don't sleep on things. And if if you don't like it. But
Yeah.
but at least I'm telling you what's up.
Yeah. And that's it. I think it's very important to be very frank, regardless of how many people might walk out the door from that.
Mhm.
You know, because sometimes you scare them off, and it's like, you should be scared. You should be scared. You need to know what you're doing right now. You know,
Mhm.
it's not a little thing putting your life savings into buying a home. You know, it's nerve-wracking thing, and you need the correct guidance. Somebody who's gonna safeguard your money as if it was mine.
Yeah, yeah, that's very important. That's one thing that people sometimes it's like mind-boggling to me how you make more research and you research more for purchasing something for your house, like curtains, than you do for the house itself. Like,
You know what? That is very true. I never really thought about it like that, but now that you're saying it, absolutely,
people
absolutely.
don't do enough research when they're buying a house. They don't educate themselves in finances, in these things. That's why I'm doing this, so that people, if they're looking for something, I could offer this platform to my clients so they can learn about the industry, what's going on. So that's why I bring people like yourself, because you're in the forefront of the market. And that's what we're talking about today. Like, what's going on in this crazy market of the COVID. And you're right there. You're like in the sauce, in the making, because you're in all the closings. You see the terminology. You see what's changing. You see the pricing. You see everything pretty much. What's going on? We want to know what's going on because it's crazy. This market is crazy.
It's so crazy. All these bidding wars that are happening for homes that won't appraise, and people just don't understand. Like, even if you're going with a whisper and a prayer, if there's an idea, it's very, like, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I lost you.
Oh, we froze?
I can't seem to see you anymore.
Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, come on.
That was my dad, guys.
Dad, hi. How are you? So she's very family oriented. So that's a good thing.
Very family oriented over here. Sorry, I had lost you guys. I apologize.
It's okay.
So it's like these bidding. It's extremely important, and I feel like it's very important that people understand it's a team effort. Mm-hmm. Your real estate agent has to be as good as your loan officer, has to be as good as your attorney. If one of these factors are missing, you're going to lose in something. Something's going to get lost somewhere. Everybody has their own job. You know, agents know what houses are going to kind of appraise at. They have ideas. They're out on the forefront. They're seeing what the house actually has or doesn't have, or what it's worth, what work it's going to need. Clients aren't really going to be that aware of it or bring it to my attention, even if something might be missing from the inspection report that was maybe glazed over. So it's important because you have that communication with the real estate agent at the beginning. Like, okay, talk to me about this house. What happened? How's it going? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Like, I'm looking at the report here. These are the issues I see. What do you see on the ground that I couldn't see? I never look at the house. I never walk into the house. I don't do any type of inspection with the house. I see the client. I see an inspection report.
Yeah, it's very important. Technically, the attorney and the loan officer are the last eyes. Me, financially, the attorney has to look out for your contract.
Right.
So it's very important to have a good attorney.
Yeah.
Because if they don't look over when they're doing their contract, they don't look over for your interest, you could be in big trouble, especially in this market that's like so crazy.
We entered a market where it's more obviously towards the sellers. The sellers have the pick of the litter. You know, they have 20 offers for a house. So everybody's trying to overbid each other, which is fine. Great. It's perfect. If that's how much you love the house and that's how much you're willing to pay for the house, no problem. Just make sure you have that money in your bank account.
But this is here's what's boggling to me, that they want the sellers, because they know this, taking advantage of the market. Obviously, anybody would do that. But, you know, you also have to understand that if the house doesn't appraise, how much can you sell it for above the appraised price? that's really hard. And it's up to the buyer too, if they're willing to pay more for the house. And ultimately, I tell my clients this is actually a little better to pay a little bit more when the interest rates are lower, because ultimately you're paying less for the house overall. But then if the interest rate was higher, so if the interest rate was in the 4s or the 5s, essentially you're paying less for the house now than if you would buy it when the interest rate was higher.
Mm-hmm.
It amounts to a lot. So if you're paying 10, 20, it's not a big deal, but it is still, because you have to come up with that money. The bank's not going to lend you that money. So
Right.
you have to come up with that extra money if the house doesn't appraise. That's the part that's a little scary out there.
Right. Well, so what they don't really understand is they have to come up with the extra cash from what the house appraises to what they put on the contract that they're going to buy the house for.
Mm-hmm.
Then what people seem to never really understand, which is what I always have to explain to them, and we take some time going over it, is whatever your loan amount is not the amount of money the bank is bringing to the table. There are costs. I can never tell you what those costs are going to be because it depends on the bank, the loan officer, the taxes, where we are when we close, and what debts, if any, the client has. So things like that is all dependent on how much money they're going to bring to the table. There's been times where I see the bank takes $70,000 up front because there's debt,
Mm-hmm.
taxes, the loan office, everything costs money.
Yeah.
Then there's been times where I see they only take $4,000 off of the loan. It all depends, and I can't stress to them enough. Only you know your finances. I don't know them.
Yeah, and it's very important, just because we're touching on that. It's very important that in this market, you got to make sure that you utilization. Look at your credit, look at your expenses, look at your credit card. Your utilization has to be under 10. If that as a lot, you need every dollar to count. And I even like $500 on debt on your credit right now will like shrunk the amount that you qualify by like 150,000. It's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's the difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference. And you need it, like I said, you need every cent to count in this market. So you want to make sure that you pay everything down so you could utilize your whole 45%, depending if it's FHA or conventional, but you want to make sure that you maximize on your income, because otherwise you're going to have to be paying stuff down to qualify, and it's going to be more money at the end of the day. So you might as well take it step by step. Look at your credit first. If you want somebody to analyze it, I'm here. I'll sit down with you and analyze it, and be ready for that transaction, because once you're out there and you look at a house and you love it, you need to put that offer, because they're going fast. Especially
they're going very fast. I know of times where there's an offer submitted. I have from the moment I have the contract, I have a turnaround period of maybe 2 to 3 days now, and that's a stretch. And they're letting us know, like, we're holding this for 2 to 3 days because the market's so hot. Somebody else can come in and sign while we're sitting here negotiating the contract. They could find a better offer. Regardless, a lot of people are being told, just come in and sign the contract. You don't need to make any changes. Yes, you do. You always need to make changes to that contract. The contract will always be in the seller's best interest, always. And then people are calling me, yelling at me, like, why are you taking so long? Why are you making changes? I'm like, whoa, I'm protecting your interest. I'm not taking so long. I'm waiting for them to get back to me on the changes. Like, trust me, these are changes that I don't even need to discuss with you, because it's just normal changes that will protect your interests.
Yeah, especially when you're putting that kind of money down, you want to make sure that there are certain clauses that are going to protect you as a consumer. So if in case the deal doesn't happen, you don't lose your money, because that could happen.
Yeah, it definitely can happen, especially. So it's, again, important to work with a good loan officer. If the contract says that you're getting this amount of a mortgage and it's conventional, you got to make sure that your loan officer is putting in for conventional this amount, because sellers right now, they aren't trying to play with the loans. This is what they committed to. They never said FHA. There's not a time to flip flop, because you will lose your deposit.
And one main thing I want to say is don't get cheap on getting an attorney, because even if you think the deal is good and you have the seller's attorney, you know, doing the contract and you don't have representation, that could mean that there's clauses that you could lose your money. So you want to have an attorney. I can't stress it enough. It's very important. It's very little money to look out for your best interest compared to what you could lose.
It
So
really is.
don't
It
cheap
really
out.
is. There's times where I'm sitting there looking at the closing statement, going over all the numbers with the client, and then you get all the way down to the bottom, like, and that's me right there. I'm like, but all this is for other things. But you know what? It's the best money you'll ever spend protecting your interests, in my opinion.
Yes, that and the inspection. I stress it very much to my clients. You need an inspection. Why you're crying over $500 when
Right.
if you get into this house and you don't know what's going on right now, you can negotiate with the seller. And guess what? You could be looking at minimum $5,000 on anything that you have to fix in a house.
Right.
Who knows how much? So
what you talk about, the wave of the market right now, I couldn't tell you the amount of calls or the amount of contracts I've gotten in, and I asked the agent for the inspection report. Like, what do you mean it doesn't need one? Why would a $500,000 house not need an inspection?
exactly.
I'm confused. I'm like, if the bank is going to require an appraisal the inspection has nothing to do with the bank. But
Yes.
the bank's going to require an appraisal down the line to protect their interest. What makes you think, which has nothing to do with you and your interests? And everybody thinks that we'll just wait on the bank because the bank is going to research the house.
Yeah.
They're not going to research the house for you. The bank just wants to make sure that they have enough value to be able to sell that house for and get their money back. Enough value, not that it's valued at that.
But essentially, this is what people get wrong. The bank is not lending on the property. The bank is lending on your ability to pay, your income. So you're the one responsible. It's not like the bank wants the house. The bank wants their interest. They're lending on you and your ability to pay. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. But the house is worth this much. It's not about the house. The house has to have the value. Don't get me wrong. It has to value whatever the loan is for, but it's ultimately on you.
Right.
Yeah.
No, so like they'll come in with no inspection report. And then I'm looking at them and I'm like, I'm going to advise you as your attorney to go get an inspection report, but I don't need it. Who told you you didn't need it? And then that's where, again, this is where you need to have a great team. Okay. You need to have everybody looking out for you. The agent needs to be that person telling you you should get an inspection report.
Yes.
A lot of people are waiving it so that they have the ability to get that offer on that home and get it accepted. Understood. If that's your reasoning behind it, I understand it. However, legally, we just need to write down that we had this discussion. You're signing the contract that you have it as is, which means if there's no inspection report to prove what the as is, the roof will be caving in, and you're still going to buy that house because you just said you're buying it as is, with the hole in the floor, with the stairs missing, with the pipes not working. Yeah, so that's something I've been seeing a lot in the market, especially the flip renovations.
Yeah,
people come to me and say, "No, it's completely brand new. It's been built from the ground up. It's been demolished. It's been renewed." What?
not necessarily.
That's the worst. You have no idea how that has been renewed. Did they just put up some, what's it called, drywall to hide something? Like, you have no idea. You need an inspector.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the homes that you usually find leakage somewhere after being in a house for over 2 hours.
Yeah, because a lot of people, Home Depot renovate, I call it. Home Depot renovate. They don't put the top dollars. They put the pretty aesthetic thing, but they don't put the top dollars. They renovate the cheapest, and of course, it's a business. They're in the business to make money. They're not in the business to look out for your best interest. So definitely, it's very important, because you don't know if there's a tank that's buried in your house. You don't know if there's structural damages that need to be talked about before you buy the house. There's a lot of things that you're not looking out because you're not a builder, you're not a engineer, so you wouldn't pick these things. Even us in the business, we wouldn't pick on these things as easily. And
So like here's the thing: if you don't sign a contract, if we don't sign a contract, I don't get paid, right? So if I'm telling you, let's not sign this contract, keep looking, I would think about that. I would say, why is she like talking herself out of some money right here? Because that's in your best interest. Like, keep looking. Trust me, there's something out there, because I'll see somebody buy a house as is in a not so nice neighborhood with this. You could tell the roof, it's about to go, the plumbing's gonna go. There's major things wrong with this house. But you're paying beyond top dollar for this house, which means you're coming out of pocket and you're buying it as is. Violations, anything, that's all on you. If that's what the seller wants, I think we can go elsewhere and you'll find something better. Then you go to a nicer neighborhood and you'll find it in a regular size price and they're willing to do accommodations.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's like, I know that you're desperate. I know you want the home, but sometimes it's not the house here.
I got people cutting grasses.
Huh?
I don't know if you hear it, but I got people cutting grass. It's like Saturday morning and they're cutting grass right next door.
It is the time. It is the time. But I find it interesting. Like, sometimes I'll still tell you, don't sign this contract, and you're still wanting to think about it. You won't. No, I want to sign. Okay.
Yeah. So
don't do it.
Yeah. So very important. Right now, it feels like the market's got fever. It feels like the market's got fever. Everybody is on the hunt for a home.
Yes.
They're not making more homes. I mean, they are making more homes, but they're not making more land.
Right.
They are making more babies. So ultimately, I don't think there's gonna be a big crash, but it's got fever. Let's just face it, it's got fever. The prices are going high and unexplicable.
I mean, a lot of people are hungry. A lot of people are hungry to make that money off of buyers, and the way the market is, you're gonna have a buyer. You know, you're gonna have a buyer. You're not gonna have a buyer. Let's calm down a little bit. Let's be grateful for what we do have, with the market being the way it's been.
Yeah, and also the fact that a lot of people are able to work from home now, so it just makes the atmosphere that much better for a house investment. That's why everybody's going out there on the hunt.
Right.
You know, I think it's a good thing. Just be careful, don't overpay, because if it turns, that money's not going to be there. So just be careful. Make sure you do your research on the area that you're purchasing, so that you got at least a fair deal.
Yeah, and it's crazy because in some areas there are bidding wars, where in others there aren't.
Yes.
It's interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in some areas you'll have lines at the door, and in other areas it can be very normal.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We're gonna do another one of these maybe in a couple of months and see what's transpired during the summer. The summer's usually the buying frenzy. That's when everybody starts looking, but this year even more so. So it'll be interesting to see where it leads.
Definitely.
I want to thank you, Ivette, for coming on the show. You are fantastic. If you want to contact Ivette for a free consultation, you have the info right there on the screen, scrolling.
I can't see it.
Her phone number is right there, 631-776-3047. I highly recommend her. And if you want to see her website, OSORIO Law LLC. Wait, OSORIO Law PLLC.
Yes.
And Thank you so much for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me.
We really appreciate you and the fact that you decided to be an attorney. That's a good thing.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me, Zomaida. Thank you for these talks. I always find myself looking at them and keeping myself informed.
Thank you. And we'll see you on the next show. We're going to do one in Spanish right after this one. So stay tuned if you want to get the Spanish version. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.